Yo, it's your boy Rush. I'm in the building promoting my side hustle, Rush Enterprise. If you're in the state of New Jersey, you need armed guards or unarmed guards, just give me a call on my business line, which is on the banner. And you can hit me up on the gram too. Today I got a few special guests on my panel. We're gonna discuss the NY stabbing amongst the two females twins that got stabbed by Kelly. And yeah, man, let's get this panel popping off. You heard? Yo, what's good? What's good, y'all? How y'all doing, man?
Man, we
I'm
doing
glad
all
to have
right,
y'all in
man.
the building today. You heard?
How you been, Rush?
man,
What's
man,
going
I've been
on?
good. Been good, man. I'm out here chasing this chicken. You heard?
What's
Word up.
What's
All
good,
right, yo.
Wally?
I'm
going
gonna
on?
start off with this question right here, man, so we can expound on the situation in New York with the stabbing. What's y'all whole thoughts on the Brooklyn stabbing? Like what's your take on the situation on a young female getting stabbed because a dude couldn't handle a rejection?
Wait,
Hey, Crystal, I think
You
you're
on
on
mute,
mute.
Crystal?
wait, hold on.
You good now?
Okay. So I personally think that, there's always two sides to every story. Not at all like in any way do I think that anything was justified. But more than rejection, I almost feel that it had to come down to like embarrassment. Something, might have happened to where he felt embarrassed in front of everybody, which yes, it has to deal with rejection, but the two together just, nobody takes it well.
Yeah, I'll say, man, my man was a sucker, man. I just gotta keep it real, and he out there making Brooklyn look bad right now. With that whole situation. So I kind of agree with Crystal. Some embarrassment happened, but he reminds me of one of them guys that can't take rejection. So which kind of shows me I think he probably was terrible with women. Because typically,
Yeah.
like guys, like you've been rejected at some point in your life. I don't care who you are. You could be the smoothest dude on the planet, but you've been rejected to the point where you shouldn't be taking personal. So I think he might have took it a little personal. Wasn't good with the lady, so like he was harboring all that resentment or something, and then wanted to show off in front of his friends. So
And
I'll
as
drop
a
right there.
woman, like it happens. Like there's been so many times that like, you can stop at a store and it happens every day. A man be like, hey, beautiful, and you keep walking, and then that beautiful will turn into, oh, you ugly ass or something. You're like, well, damn, like how did I just go from beautiful to ugly that quick? Like,
Yeah,
but
those,
it,
those,
it happens.
so
Happens
dudes
all
be
the
snapping
time.
off on you like that.
I'm sorry.
I said guys be snapping off on you like that. Like if you
I
reject them or ignore
I
them.
I live in Broward County in Miami. Like it definitely happens all the time. You go to the corner store, yeah, there's people out there, and it happens. I mean, I think it happens anywhere, and just as a woman in general, and it doesn't even matter. Like now, you can be. It doesn't even. You can. You don't even have to be the most beautiful woman. Period. A man is just going to shoot his shot a lot of the times, but if you don't handle it how he wants you to, a lot of the times, you kind of see how that man really is by the way he takes your reaction for later. But I guess, not everyone always sees signs like that as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a horrible thing that he wasn't able to deal with the rejection being rejected by the female good, so he decided to stab the female, which is unfortunate situation. I mean, yo, Wale, man, I want to get your perspective on that, man. Let's expound on this, man.
Nah, I think yeah, pretty much I agree with everybody else. I mean, same thing. It just it's a little bit of a disappointing, what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. It's like if somebody ain't feeling what they feeling, like no one's not gonna ultimately say yes to you just because you tell them something or you give them a nice compliment. it is what it is. Some people just, trying to just move on their days, trying to get something and go. They told you no, that's all there is to it. Now, I don't know if there was something deeper there into it, you know what I'm saying? But to the point that you had to take someone's life because someone told you no, like, come on, bro. It was just horrible.
That's how I feel. Like at the end of the day, the whole situation, it's sad. It should have never happened. I just feel like from what I've seen, the videos and things like that, there's something else that went on that got him to that point at that moment.
Yeah,
and not saying that it's right at all. But those are the things that sometimes we just never know what goes through someone's mind,
Man, I gotta disagree with y'all a little bit. I don't see nothing like that deep that could go on that could make somebody snap like that unless he's just already out of his mind. Because it's just think about it like this. This dude wild out, had this situation just because somebody rejected you. Even if somebody kind of disrespected you a little bit, you just blow it off, man. You just like, all right, you know what? Peace. Let me move on. That's typically how most guys would move on. But I think he was trying to impress his friends, trying to be like thorough and stuff. And that's when he went over that edge. And just think about it. Now he's going to be in the system he's probably going to get life based off of this incident where it's just like, man, now you don't have no female interaction. So yeah, there's definitely something I'll say off with his mindset and thinking. Cause yeah, it's just is wild when you think about it. Cause there ain't no way in hell, like ain't one guy after a certain age, like you've been rejected, like I said before. So,
but I mean, ultimately, a lot of the times when things like this happen, the people are not the most stable people, and it comes out later that this person had a violent past, or this was an angry child who threw tantrums that just grew up to be an adult that's the same exact way. A lot of times history repeats itself, and then it's just we don't really get to point a finger until something happens to where we're actually pointing a finger now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because if you think about it, because I heard of the story, like the location where they were at when the whole stabbing went down. The store manager, he said that he closed the store for like at least an hour, and Buddy was still right there outside until he reopened it up. So, I mean, there definitely was some type of tension, but even then, like whatever the tension is, it wasn't worth just stabbing somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because when I was looking at it, it was like they followed it must have started at a club nearby or something like that, little dance spot. Then they ended up in that spot. And like you said, Wally, like the owner, they stayed in there for a little bit. And then, I guess they thought everything was calmed down and stuff. And that's where he came back or he was waiting around. So, yeah, I think I might have missed some steps in that. But, yeah, it seemed like it lingered on for like the whole night.
But it was just a little bit off.
So, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I just think dude was young. He was a young dude. So more than likely the young dude probably got hurt. Feelings of hurt, rejection. But it sounds like, this was more than just I rejected you. When I read the story and listened to the news clip of it, it sounded like it was more said and done besides just them telling them no. So we know nowadays these young girls are trying to put shit on TikTok and embarrass motherfuckers and stuff like that, right? So when you do that, now you're taking it to a whole new level. It's one thing to tell a man no. That's cool. But when you try to make it a public spectacle, that's when you're taking it too far. And so now you talk about a young guy who's probably more than likely unstable, who's probably can't handle rejection a lot. Because a lot of these kids, they never been told no before because they've been pacified baby as kids. So now you got a young girl who's probably nice looking, like you said, telling her no. He can't handle rejection too well. Okay, so she said no. Okay, he's already embarrassed, took the L. Now she's making a spectacle out of it. Now she's going back and forth with him because they got into an argument. This was more than just her telling no and him, walk away with his head down. She probably made a spectacle out of it, probably made a video. Look at this dude, this dusty dude trying to holler at me. And I had to tell him no, and he's still hanging around. He ain't got nothing better to do. So now she fronted him. Now she showed him up. So now he's pissed off. Probably was in front of his boys when he did it. Try to show he got game and probably picked him up. Now he got rejected in front of his boys. Now he's embarrassed because boys are probably giving him hell. Oh, dog, you see what he did you? That's funny. You know how we do. We gonna give you hell. We gonna joke. We gonna snap on you. And all that happened. Now he's pondered. He's thinking about it. Now he's in his feelings. Now he feel like he need to get him back. So what better way he feel like getting him back? Come with some bullshit. Now I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. It's a smart thing to do. But that's his way how he handled because he never was taught any better.
Yeah,
I do
go ahead,
kind of agree with you. Sometimes females do make make a huge scene on a dude that is actually trying to get with them, but it's no excuse for him to react in that violent manner, man. Like, at some point, like sophisticated Jerk says, like a dude's gonna experience rejection in his lifetime, man, and and that's a part of becoming an adult too, man. Is dealing with rejection. I mean, and it is what it is, man. Dude was it was uncalled for that senseless violent act he did towards that female. You know what I mean? And I want to ask out another question. Do you think he reacted in that violent manner because like he suffers like low self-esteem?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely had to be some insecurities and low self-esteem for him to like act out like that. I was just looking up his name again just to be on a dude 20 years old. So he's old enough to know like we said, the rejection, and he should like have some control over his emotions. But I agree with Hink where he probably didn't see like a lot of masculine men around him and stuff like that. But you could just tell by that reaction. Typically, those dudes that like, we see on the news and stuff that be like shooting up stuff and they write those manifestos like, I never had a girlfriend before. A lot of that stuff is tied to insecurities and low self-esteem and stuff. So I agree with you, Rush.
Do you think it's a possibility he could be an incel?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
that cat's
no,
an incel, straight up.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
so.
No, I don't think so. Well, incel, he would have never talked to the girls. He would have never shot his shot. But you said, you said he was 20 years old. He young.
Yeah, he was 20.
He young.
But man,
Look, let me say this.
22, dog. I can't even.
I understand what I understand what your son 22. He's still young. Let me say this. At 20, I bet he only had 2 girlfriends his whole life. 2. Now our time, we had about 5 or 10. He probably had 2, and one of them was probably in elementary. He told them they was his girlfriend, but they really wasn't.
I'll be honest. Like, I personally dealt with a lot of like domestic violence, and I think that sometimes it doesn't take much to make somebody tick. It literally just can be a no and a going back and forth. And he was, they say that he was there with somebody else. In the videos that I've seen, it looks like there was some sort of like, back and forth or arguing before. And sometimes, like as women, we need to know that at the end of the day, no matter how big we are, we cannot overpower a man. And sometimes we need to learn when. Now, from you guys saying that this happened to the club and then they got followed, she should have been on the phone calling the cops from the time that the man was following her, or something. And we have to learn how to protect ourselves more instead of protecting you men more, and that's what happens a lot of times. We don't want to call the cops. We don't want to do certain things because we're scared. But at the end of the day, the reaction to the anger is it there's no difference, so it's like it's either us or it's either us or the men at the time. I don't think that somebody like that, I don't think it really took much, and I think it was just an unfortunate situation that it happened to her. But if not her, it could have been somebody else easily.
Right.
So you talk about protecting her. She wasn't trying to protect that dude.
No. I'm not saying protecting him personally. I'm saying just, a lot of times like women will be scared to call the cops because of just anything, not saying that we protect them, but at the end of the day, we are protecting you guys by not calling the cops on you, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
basically,
I find that hard to believe because a girl, we seen girls call cops on bullshit. We
sometimes,
seen girls call cops on bullshit.
sometimes,
So
yeah.
where to the point where they start the shit, and then they get mad because a guy responds, and then they call the cops. Like
Yeah.
like you didn't verbally abuse this man. We seen that happen many of times. So
Yeah, I mean,
when
definitely.
we
I
watch
would
them
just
go
more
back
say
and
like
when we
for
hear
the
about them going
verbal
back and forth,
situation. I feel like, like someone that reacts like that and dealing with someone who, like sees like how someone who can be angry from their childhood and just kind of bring that into their adulthood. Sometimes it does not just really take much, like at all, just like someone cutting you off at a light can be enough for that person to react. And we're all sitting like, what really happened? Like that person just cut you off, just like here, like, she she rejected you then today. Like I just think that he just honestly is just a messed up person mentally.
so let's map this out. They 19 years old. They out. It looked like it said 2:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you out this late, young ladies?
Yeah.
2:30 in the morning. Why? Getting something to eat at a restaurant. Why? Why don't you take your ass home after you left the club and go home? Go through some drive-through. If you hungry, go through a drive-through, get you something to eat, and get the fuck home. Well, why are you still hanging out? It's dangerous out here. It's not safe. It's not the thing, especially when you know you just got into an altercation. See, now she's not thinking it. Now I'm not gonna sit there and say it's her fault because she has every right to stop and get something to eat. True, that's all fine and dandy. At the same time, if I just got into an argument and somebody, even in the parking lot of the club, not necessarily in the club, but I'm not gonna sit around and wait because I don't know if they still trying to follow me, or still trying to get at me, or still trying to do something. I'm going on home. I'm a grown ass man. If I got to argument in the club, I'm done. I'm done for the night. I'm going home. I ain't got time for this. I'm not making no stop. Because let me get to my house, it's over for that dude. First of all, let me get to my car, it's over. But let alone get to my home. He stands not a chance if he's still trying to come at me.
But Hink, you think
So
this is the logical you at our age now? Because I get you, like that definitely makes sense at our age now. But I could go back to like 19 and 20, man. After the club, we grabbing something to eat. Everybody hollering at shorties around the way and stuff. Females out kicking it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think they mapping it out logically like that. Because I
no,
think they probably thought like my
I'm
man
sure.
would like calm down and move on and stuff.
They're
So
like still
I,
looking for
look,
fights
I'm
after the
sure she's
club
not
at
because
that
first of all,
age.
she's going back and forth with some dude. So I know she's not thinking logically. I
that's a
know
good point.
her father's not in her life. I know because he's father gonna sit there and tell you, "That girl, why are you sitting there going back and forth with me? Because if this man snap off, he lay hands on you. What you gonna do?" So now I know she's not thinking logically. Logically, she probably would have took her ass on. Her ego says, "I'm stay here. I'm having a good time. Fuck him. Who he to tell me what to do? I ain't worried about him. Let them go." I told him no. He need to go about his business. So now you see, if you see him coming back, like right I don't know, what's it, Crystal? She should have called the police, but her pride wouldn't let her. Her pride said, "No, I ain't worried about him. Fuck him. He ain't gonna do shit to me." That's what her pride said.
So you're saying that if she would have left a little bit earlier, not staying out till 2:30 a.m., you're saying that it could be a possibility that she'll still be alive right now.
Yes, sir. If she had to stop at that restaurant, even if she got into it in the parking lot, supposedly at the club, whenever she left, if she just went on home, it probably would have done over with. Instead, she said, "Girl, I'm hungry. Let's stop and get something to eat." First of all, y'all said the club's right around the corner. It's probably in walking distance. The club's probably next door to the little hole in the wall restaurant. Really, I don't know. I don't know the how close it is now. But nonetheless, more than likely, that's probably what happened. And she went over and said, "No, we're gonna stop and get some meat." I don't know, and nobody in the camp because it sounds like it's a twin sister, so they more than like they on the same frame, the mindset they thinking alike. So neither one of them think. You got two non-thinking ass girls together. That's a recipe for disaster. There's not a third one. Say, girl, let's just go home. Fuck that. I'm tired. I ain't got time for this. Shit, I got some leftovers in the refrigerator. Let's eat that. Fuck it. Let's go to a drive-thru and keep it moving. Nobody's thinking like that.
Yeah,
They thinking they
but
want to hang out a little bit more because their restaurant is open.
You know the crazy part about this, man? Like he's taking it to trial and he's pleading not guilty, man. Like
That cat, they about to eat him alive.
I want to get your opinion from all y'all about that. Talk to me.
So
Well, that's what he's supposed to plead not guilty. I mean, the jury at 12 got to find me guilty. I'm not gonna go there and just give it to myself to him.
Go ahead, sophisticated Jack. I want to get your opinion. Go ahead.
My man need a cop a plea. I don't know what he's thinking because they gonna put him underneath there. I get it. Like
he got jump on the sword.
yeah, he should have been trying to work out a deal because I mean there ain't no way in hell that he gonna get off of this one. You know, with the girl being a twin and all that, just the appearance alone is gonna bury him under there. He gonna get life. He could have worked out like maybe 40 years or something. He caught that plea.
And now peep game, he has an attorney too. So that means whoever is his guardian, they're co-signing his malbehavior towards the situation. Like, I think that's crazy, man. What's your thoughts on this, Crystal?
I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe like you can try to like bullshit one, but how do you like justify stabbing two? Because at the end of the day, you stab both of them in a different spot. You know, like, I don't think that it's gonna end well for him, and I just think that he's done. He fucked up. But at the end of the day, I do think that the family deserves justice for his actions. And honestly, whatever comes his way, I really hope whatever he gets, I mean, he deserves. And I do hope that he does get some time for it because it really, there's no reason for it to, you know, go as far as it did.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
I totally agree with you too. Yo, Wale, man, give me your thoughts on that, man.
that boy chose to put himself under the whole building right there. If you think he gonna fight that, there is no way around it. It doesn't matter if he even sit here and say, "Oh, I was caught up in the influence." It doesn't matter. You're gonna be locked up, dead under the building. I mean, honestly, because looking at that situation overall, right, when they said that he was coming from the party and he was being aggressive, I think that was the only thing for me, like in my head, like, okay, you came from a party, you're aggressive. 9 times out of 10, you probably was drinking, you a little bit off the dome, you're not thinking straight, and whatever you're hearing out of whatever she said out of her mouth, you probably heard something way different. And then you took an events. But I do think the whole situation would have never happened. I think if wherever they went to that store, that deli, if the guy, whoever owned that restaurant or the store, however it may be, if they knew that they were willing to close the place for like an hour, then to reopen it back up, they should have right then and there thought of, let's call the police, or at least talk to the guy and be like, hey, is everything okay here? Versus just be like, oh, we're going to close it for a moment and then reopen it back up only to find out, blood leaking on the floor and a body dead and then the other person's wounded. So,
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's definitely a bad look. So, man, this might cause a curfew to transpire because this is not the only stabbing that's been going on in New York. There's a few other stabbings that happened. I mean, there's the one happened in Queens, the other in I think Far Rock. I mean, it's just a lot of stabbing going on in New York. My next question for y'all, man, do you think the parents...
Russ, real quick, can I just chime in on the last question you asked about the whole jail thing? I think what they're going to try to do is plead insanity or something with his mindset. That's probably why they going to court.
Yeah. He could possibly get away if that's the lane he's taking. Yeah, he could probably get away with that.
Nah, he ain't gonna win. They're gonna try it, but it ain't going down.
He can try. Yeah, I mean, he can try.
Let me say this, because we can't say that. I watched a woman stabbed a man. Well, I didn't say I watched it. Let me switch that up. I seen an interview, a story where a woman stabbed a man 100 and something times, and her white ass got the fuck off, and she blamed it on her weed induced high. That's what our story I watched. I said, "What the fuck is this?"
Okay, shit.
So don't sit there. She can't get off. This heifer didn't get not one lick of prison. She didn't serve no time in jail. She got probation. I'm just saying, man.
Yeah. I
You ain't
mean, yo,
make
I
the
think
same
that,
at
yeah,
this one.
I mean, 100 times, yeah. There's no way, there's no wiggle room from that. Yeah, I mean, even if you were to plead insanity, you know what I mean? But like like it still gives you that open window of opportunity of getting a kind of like an scapegoat if you're gonna take that route with the right attorney. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I think that man, I think this new generation coming up is lost, man. Like I'm kind of feared for the future, man, because man, you out, you know, unaliving people because of a simple rejection, like that ain't good, man. You know what I mean?
They're
So it's like, yo,
sensitive. They're too sensitive.
Yeah, facts.
They don't have hard skin like we all had, you know. These kids, like, I don't know, maybe like they grow up inside and they're on the computers, and it's so different that they're not used to real life. Like they go outside and someone says something and you're like, oh my God, ready to shoot somebody, and you're like, where we used to just sit and talk about each other all day for fun, you know, like it was like nothing. Like kids are different now. And
do you think social media is the cause of this too? Because it's like, this generation coming up, they lack certain social skills in order to interact with people in real life. Like, I mean, let me get your thoughts on
Nah,
that. Let's expand on this, man.
no. Look, Eric, you can't put. Look, here, man. That's his parents' fault. That's his goddamn parents' fault. If you don't, if
Okay, so you
your
saying the
child,
parents failed
if
then. The
yeah,
guardian
because
failed then.
if your child don't know how to socially interact, and you see this, what are you doing to offset this bullshit? What are you doing to fix that? What are you doing to change that? Are you having them cut off and put on the phones, cut off the computers or the television, the tablets?
yeah,
What are you doing?
that's like I fight with my 8-year-old every day because she has a cutoff time on her phone, Monday through Friday, Thursday. And every night she's like, this isn't fair. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's about balance. You're not going to be sitting in your phone, sneaking on your phone all night. Take your ass to bed. Go find something else to do, you know? But like, it definitely is on the parents.
Read a
Because
goddamn
kids,
book.
they just, and you know, and you can't always just blame the parents too, because you know, times are so hard now, things are so
Mm-mm.
expensive that a lot of parents have no choice but to work and to, you know, put so much time and effort into paying bills and, you know, just trying to feed their families, that sometimes they lack little things like that, where it's like these kids don't really have much to do other than kind of raise themselves behind computers, tablets, and phones, you know.
So, ma'am, let me tell you the most important bill you have is your child.
I'm
That's
sorry.
the most important. The most important bill you have is your child.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a mother of four, so
So,
yeah,
so no, I can't sit there and say that's an excuse. I sit there and sit there and say I work too much. Whether you need to figure some shit out,
oh,
whether you need to
you
change
can
your
absolutely know that,
lifestyle,
bro. You
whether
know, like
you
parents
need to
forget
budget better,
eventually.
where you need to do something different. But you can't sit there and I work too much. Bullshit. Bullshit, because that's the most important thing you created that the most one's gonna cost you the most money is your child, even more than your home, your car, anything. Your child will cost you more.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with Hink because like I said, I got a son, man, that's around that kid's age, and man, I'm like, yo, put that device down, man. You go outside, man. What you and your friends ain't going to kick it? Y'all ain't going to the mall, so I push them out. I'm like, y'all got to get out there, man. You can't just be sitting around being socially awkward and stuff. So I think more
Yeah, like
parents,
I have a 19-year-old. My son's in Atlanta right now. He's been playing basketball since he's 4 years old, you know, and that's how he spends his time. barely even has social media or anything, you know, and he's been in sports and different things, and he's grew up like that. And honestly, me personally, I think, you know, having a son that's helped greatly from keeping him from in trouble in the streets, having to keep himself busy, find things to do. You know, he grew up since literally he can walk and talk in sports. But I'm just speaking in general, you know, like what's going on around today, and a lot of homes that you see, you know, where just a lot of parents just in general have to work and have to do things, and there's a lot of kids that are neglected, sadly.
One thing real quick, man. I think what we kind
Go
of
ahead.
missed out on, Rush, was who was his friends that was kicking it with him that didn't pull him to the side, like, look, man, you wilding, like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So his friends group too, man, like they kind of off base. Cause yeah, if I would have saw one of my friends acting up, like going over the top because he was rejected, I would have been like, look, man, you tripping. Like, why you so emotional about this? So yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy too, that his crew let him kind of like, you know, get worked up like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. But it hold them
yeah. Go
back.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just
I,
saying, like, definitely, I agree. Like, there wasn't like anybody there to be like, "Hey, like, calm down." Like, these are two, you know, two young girls, two little girls. Like, but I don't know. Like, people are scared to speak up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that sophisticated jerk, man. Like somebody should have stepped in and calmed them down, but you know, because um you know, we're dealing with a moist era, you know, people are scared to, you know, check somebody that's in the wrong, man. And I mean, definitely if I was in the situation, I'd have tried to diffuse it, try to save the little girl life, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's just it's unfortunate for somebody to lose their life for something so uh senseless, man. Like there's no real just for him to unalive that female. Know what I mean,
Yeah.
and I also feel where Crystal is coming from due to the fact that the economy's crazy. People got to pick up extra hours, so they might not have the ability to spend the proper amount of time to raise their child. But like Hank says, man, there's no excuse for that. Like you know, you have to figure it out on how to you know, pan things out and make sure, you know, things are, you know, peaceful within, you know, your personal space or environment. Now, I mean, now, my next question for y'all is, yo, what advice would you give to females to, you know, kind of like avoid situations like that from, you know, rejecting somebody and possibly getting unalive for it?
Me personally, I think the biggest thing I learned, and I'm 39, like I said, I've gone through a lot. We just really have to learn how to be quiet. That's all it comes down to. Like, there's not a fight if you're not arguing back, if you're not saying anything back. You know, you can't control anybody at the end of the day, but you can definitely feed into it. You can, you know, fuel the fire. And I think that's what happens a lot of times. And you know, we're emotional, we move off emotions and stuff, but you know, I just truly think that a lot of times if we just learn how to be the bigger person that we may not feel we're being at the time, because we want to, you know, curse you guys out and say whatever it is, but if we learn to just be quiet, we really do win at the end.
I would say, kind of touching on what Hink was talking about earlier on, where they shouldn't be trying to embarrass somebody. It's like, man, if you're not interested, or it's just like, hey, man, you could use this excuse. I got a boyfriend,
Yeah.
you know, keep it moving. But like, thanks for talking to me. So it's like, man, you could be polite and still reject the guy. So I think sometimes, like Hink was saying, like people are looking to embarrass people, and it's like, man, you don't know if like one of these dudes is emotional, like in this case, and how they're gonna take it. So yeah, I would just say, like, look, lie if you ain't interested, be graceful and leave it at that, versus like, let me try to embarrass this dude or get the hell away from me type of, you know, like I'll say rejections.
Because like I was saying before, you know, like there's different type of girls. Like me personally, if I'm walking and someone says something, I may be like, oh no, thank you, or just I'm married.
Yeah.
That's always the go-to, you know, I'm married. Like guys usually kind of it's just dead right there, you know. But I have seen or had friends or growing up where someone say something and be like, no, you know, or wait, like Why would you even talk to me, or why would you think that you could talk to me? And it's just the whole attitude of like, at the end of the day, that could be, or whatever it is you feel, but we still have to respect each other, and that's why, I mean, you don't have to sit and let nobody disrespect you, but we as women, a lot of times, if we just learn just to ignore it, or just at the moment de-escalate the situation, we could avoid a lot of problems.
I got my boy Chaotic Truth in the building, man. Y'all,
What's good, chaotic?
I want your perspectives on this, man. Talk to me, Chaotic. What's your thoughts on this whole situation with the stabbing in Brooklyn, New York?
No, you guys have hit it on the nail, man. It's socialization. A lot of these kids, they don't, they don't grow up. I mean, this is the participation trophy generation. Everything is handed to them growing up. They have access to an infinite amount of information. They are told that they're winners, even when they don't win. And then when they get into the real world and face rejection, they can't handle it because they didn't grow up handling things like that, in grade school, in high school. Rush, I've told you all the time, man, it was nothing like being told I was ugly in the second grade by the and ironically, and Rush, you've heard the story, it was a set of twins who called me ugly. It was random. And I think that a lot of kids, they don't go through, bullying, and they don't go through what we went through that builds character. When I was told that I was ugly in the second grade, it made me realize, like, I got to be funny, man. I got to be witty. Because it was the first time I looked in that mirror and said, God damn, maybe they are right. Maybe I am ugly. And I've always moved
Yeah,
through
I
life.
agree with them. I agree with
Yeah.
them, Chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I moved through life, Rush. Listen, now I don't know what was up with that guy particularly. He wasn't a bad looking kid, but again, it's just socialization. But when you're short and ugly like me, you just can't walk up to a female and say, "Hey, give me your number." That's insane. But you have a lot of kids like that do these things, and they don't understand why they got rejected. Hey, you can't be 5'4" and look like Gary Coleman in the face and just expect a number. No, you have to be funny. You have to be witty. You have to bring something. You're not 6'3" and you don't look like I don't know, man, no homo, but you don't look like Lorenz Tate in the face, man. So it's a wild situation, man. And we could get into a lot of other details about human beings are just wicked, period. We're just animals, and some people are just uncivilized. Living in that concrete jungle in New York, limited. I don't know, man. It's a very complicated situation in parts of New York. A lot of those kids probably feel hopeless, to be honest with you. A lot of those kids don't realize that they are living in the lap of luxury. So they stay to the streets, and maybe it was a thing of disrespect. Maybe the girl said something to the kids and they didn't know how to handle that as well. A lot of younger kids don't know how to just walk away. Well, shoot, a lot of adults, a lot of adults don't know how to walk away to a degree.
You know what? I mean, let me interject real quick. It's like the way we came up, chaotic. It's like, yo, we used to play like Dirty Dozens, and it was a game where we would insult each other,
Yeah.
and it would get us conditioned to deal with the
Yeah.
harsh reality of life and
Yeah.
rejection. Do you think these kids in this generation is missing that? That
Yeah,
key component?
I was a teacher, Rush, and obviously when you are in school, the idea is to do your work, but every now and then, for a period, you may rank on each other. But now what I noticed, and I was years ago when I was teaching, but a lot of these kids are, they're insecure, they're soft, and they have all these hashtag bullying campaigns, and so these kids don't really have the wherewithal to handle insults because you say playing the dozens, we call it ranking where I was from. has been reduced. And a lot of these kids don't go outside. A lot of them don't play. A lot of them don't physically bond with each other. So they don't even have access to other kids to a degree to even do these things with, like wrestling or slap boxing or, hierarchy or hierarchical games, if you will. So I don't know, man. I don't want to say this is like, mass all around. I mean, there's stabbings all over, but this case is really interesting, to be honest with you, man. But also two of those boys, the darker skinned boys, they, I got to bring a little race into it. They look, like they were from, Haiti, bro. They looked like they were from those weren't African Americans, man. Now, the kid who did the stabbing, I think he was Black American, but those two dark boys, those might have been, some Africans, and they come from, third world countries. Violence is common there, so it's nothing for them to be violent. But it appears it was just the lighter skinned guy that was violent. So I don't know, man. This is it. It's interesting, bro.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, Chaotic. Do you think it's a possibility that his prefrontal cortex wasn't fully developed, which caused him to make a reckless decision like that?
Yeah, according to science, if you read a lot of peer-reviewed articles or journal articles, you'll have a lot of scientists who have studied brain waves, and scientists have, it appears that they have come to a conclusion that the brain doesn't fully develop until 25. But people have been making good arguments lately on YouTube about, boys were going off to war at 18 during World War II and literally securing the victory for America. You had 15 and 16-year-olds getting married in the 17 and 1800s, and they had whole families. They were, managing farms, I guess, so, you had people back then that were doing great things at young ages. Hell, George Washington was the goddamn president. He wasn't the president, but he was a general by the time he was 24. He wasn't the president yet, but think about these things. A lot of these, a lot of the founding fathers, a lot of the people, back then, the founding of the country, they were young men and they were generals and officers in the military, top brass. So I don't know, man. I think that this society is totally different compared to back then. Processed foods, a lot of weed smoking, particularly drug usage is probably, altering, brain chemistry. But I don't know, man. I have a lot of opinions about this, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't say nothing was wrong with his mind. Because I like what you were saying, Chaotic, as far as like people going in the military, at like 18 and stuff. So yeah, I just think, man, a lot of people are coddled, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. A lot of people are coddled, and like I said, people aren't growing up because we don't have to be adults anymore in this society, man. Just think about how easy it is to make money now. Think about all of our creature comforts are met. We live in the greatest country on the planet. We don't have any famines. There are no great wars. There are no invading armies. We actually, are pretty much spoiled kids living in a mansion, and that mansion is America. So technically we're like, hey, Daddy, can I get $500? We're like those types of kids. This America, man. Like I think America, we're high off the hog here. If that made any sense. Yeah.
The CT real quick. So when you was a teacher and stuff, was it a lot of like, because I know you probably try to like set the guy straight in the class, like you said, like clowning them a little bit, but did a lot of parents come in there and give like teachers pushback that were like you trying to like?
Yeah, it was the single moms. They were very violent, very verbose. You're dealing with women, so you're dealing with a human being that's already illogical any goddamn way. So you're dealing with a woman who has a broken home. She comes up into a school and she thinks she's gonna tell you what to do, and you the man. And it's just it's a broken system. So you had a lot of women who they don't understand how men operate with young boys, and it just became to a degree where I just pretty much gave up, man. Hey, do what you do, man. You know, it was, I thought it was just, to me, it's better to, if you're a teacher or if you are a teacher, it's probably just better to deal with kids who come from nuclear families, because now you can talk to the father. But when you talking to a woman, oh, Jesus Christ, man, that's the worst, bro. That's the worst.
So it was that bad dealing with the mother, man.
Yeah, I
Like
wish,
you have
yeah.
to,
What'd you say, Rush?
it was that bad dealing with like most of the mothers
Well, yeah,
with their
Rush,
kids.
I've
With
told
that
you, I've told you stories, even on my live streams, I've said stories about times when I had to like literally, I'm not a tough guy, but I had to like check this one lady one time. She's 5 foot, 300 damn pounds, telling me what I ain't gonna do. And I had to kindly remind her, I'm like, lady, I will like ragdoll you in this office, man. The stupid punk principal here and there just watching. And I'm like, lady, your son, he is a deviant. Your son is causing a problem. Your son, he's in this alternative school. Your son is causing the problems. And every time he's reprimanded, you bring your little fat little ass up here and you run your mouth. And the problem is that, you don't understand hierarchy here. The fact is that this kid is going to be in the penitentiary. And the fact is that you can't whoop my ass. So please stop talking shit to me. So I had to tell her that one time, man.
I agree.
But I had to. Shit.
I definitely agree. I have a friend who's a teacher, and she says it all the time. It's the moms. And I run a women only business as well, and it's tough. we could be a lot to deal with.
Yeah, I had one of my cousins, they were telling me, because they worked in a school district too chaotic, and they were saying like they had to like record somebody's child just to prove to the parent like how bad their kid was. So yeah, I can definitely see what you're talking about.
Yeah, we live in a day and age where it's guys, we're all intelligent up here. It's very complex. There's no respect for America. And I got to bring up race. Black people really don't respect America as a whole. So there's this everything. We have to rebel. We have to rebel against school. We have to rebel against order. We have to rebel against the police. We have to rebel against the teachers. And when something of consequence happens, we could just all easily blame it on racism. And that's what a lot of these women do when they come up to the school, man. They have this everything vibe. You ain't gonna tell him what to do, because that's really her just not really respecting law and order and male rulership. That's all what that is, because she doesn't have a man in her life. So now she wants to rule over her son, but she doesn't want anybody to rule her son other than her. So that was the problem.
Do you guys think we're too far gone in order for us to restore some type of order within the United States?
Yeah, Rush, let me tell you something, sir. Let me answer this question first. I don't know what you guys believe, Rush. Our ancient ancestors were chased into hollowed out trees. Think about that. We were little apes just running around, scared of predators. Then when we evolved into these beings that we are now, and again, guys, this is just me talking. Y'all ain't got to believe it. But think about 100,000 years ago when modern man came about. We were spear chuckers. We were hunters and gatherers, fighting different tribes and scavenging for food. Think about all the famines throughout history, and think about all the natural disasters. Not right, Rush. It ain't that bad, bro. We're not that bad. We live in a very civilized place, man. It was far worse back in the day.
Are you so you're a believer of the dogman theory?
My apologies, sir. You believe in what?
The dogman theory.
You mean
that
Darwinism?
we evolved from apes?
You mean Darwinism?
Yeah, Darwinism. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, I don't believe that we evolved from apes. I believe that we are currently apes right now. We are part of the ape family. You have gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and humans. And I believe that our ape behavior shows, just like with this kid, he's an ape. He's just
you talking about them white folks evolved from apes? I don't think black people evolved from apes.
Wait a minute, Hank, hear me out. I never said evolved. I said that we are apes right now.
Oh, okay.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Hear me out. So that's why it doesn't surprise me when I hear stories about people doing these, these what we call crimes, because these are just we're just animals roaming around this planet. We just wear clothes, and we drive metal tubes with rubber. That's pretty much it. And the smartest of us have just created rocket ships that we call planes. Other than that, we're just apes, bro. So that's why when this kid did what he did, I said, at the end of the day, he's just an ape. So he's wild. See, the thing about a human being, what I believe is we are all capable of what that boy did. However, we make conscientious decisions based on logic and reasoning. And some of us understand 5 minutes from now. Some of us understand 500 minutes from now. Some of us understand 50 years from now. And that kid, he didn't understand that, hey, what you just did, you're about to go to the penitentiary, buddy, because he was living in the moment. Like, think about an animal, think about a dog or a cat. They just live in the moment. They don't have any future plans, right? And I feel like a lot of human beings are walking around like that. And that's why a lot of these younger kids, because they don't have that developed prefrontal lobe.
Prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, the prefrontal cortex. Because I really believe, because human beings, it's very likely, man, that some of us are just less evolved. I mean, less civilized, and some of us are just more civilized. That's what I believe, man. But that's just my belief. I don't want anybody to believe what I believe. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering when you're gonna pass that goddamn mic, motherfucker.
Oh, we don't gotta do all that now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Go ahead, man. You got the floor.
Nah, it's all good, man. I'm just bullshitting, but
I got you.
Word up. My next question for y'all is, do you think this kid might possibly have truly a undiagnosed mental illness? And if so, like, what do you think it could possibly be?
I don't know if he really has one, but I'm sure gonna claim one if I was him. That's gonna be part of my goddamn defense. I promise you that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say, because, if it's a mental thing or if it, was just a moment thing, without knowing, more details on him. Because I definitely can see both. There's people that react in the moment, and then there's people that just, have mental disorders, and they literally, have to fight their, whatever it is, but fight their thoughts daily. A lot of us, I could speak for myself. Like, I, can be a spur in the moment person. However, I have sense. I'm able to stop and think, and kind of calm myself down. But I think we've all had moments where we've definitely wanted to, like, strangle somebody, so, or just react. So, I can't say if it's a mental thing personally. I think a lot of us have, deal with mental disorders, whether it's diagnosed or not. A lot of us are dealing with things, and it's just some of us are aware of it and some of us are not. But, that's personally what I think. It's kind of hard to say.
Word up. I'm gonna cut this show short today, man. So let me just get everybody's final thoughts before we kill this live.
Yeah, real quick. My final thoughts, just kind of tying into your last question. It's just like I don't know if he had like mental illness, but definitely something was off with him. I think a lot of times like kids around his age are trying to show out too much, and they don't know how to take rejection. So parents, man, you gotta start socializing your kids. Make them go outside. Make them like Hink said earlier, man. Put them in sports, man. Make them interact with other people. So I think they're just becoming so socially awkward that they lashing out in like a negative way.
Talk to your kids. A lot of times that's all they want, or just people in general. A lot of times it doesn't matter what your age, we just want someone to talk to, but especially as a parent, a lot of times just asking your kid, how was your day, or what's the matter, can solve a lot of problems for that day.
Let me say this: don't talk to your kids. Listen, because that's a problem. We do enough talking to this until we blue in the face, but we don't listen enough.
Well,
And I
you're
think that's
correct.
a lot. A lot of the issues is we don't listen. We'll talk to them when we're scolding them. We'll talk to them when we just got something to say or something's on our heart or we need them to do something, but we don't listen enough. So I think if we listen to them more, I think that'll make a big difference. And then that allows them to learn how to interact. Not only that, it allows them to learn how to listen themselves. Because we all know sometimes kids ain't good listeners themselves. So, but if we learn how to show them how we know how to listen, and we can prove to them it's you can do it, then guess what? They'll learn to do these things. So I think that's my final thought.
Rush, and thank you so much, Sophisticated Jerk. Thank you so much, Hank and Crystal and Wiley. Rush, I'm married, but however, one thing that I learned growing up, and I practiced this, go for the gusto. And what I mean by the gusto is, and this is not to downplay that girl. I think her name was Samyia, or what was her name? Samyia, excuse me. Now, please forgive me if anybody's in the crowd is related to this young lady. It's going to sound really fucked up what I'm about to say. So just prepare yourself, guys. When I was a kid, I went for the gusto. So, for example, I hollered at chicks who looked like models. Now, being from the Midwest, Northeast Ohio, you don't find a lot of model-looking chicks there. Maybe Chicago. But I'm like, damn, if I'm going to get rejected, I'm going to get rejected from a chick who looks like Naomi Campbell from that goddamn Michael Jackson video. Keep it in the closet. I'm not about to get rejected from a black bitch who looks like Esther Roll in the face or a black chick who looks like me in the face. Because I'm telling you, if a real pretty chick rejects you, it's like, okay, baby. You don't really feel as bad if a super hot, tall chick who looks like a model rejects you. It's like, well, that was she. She was super hot. She could walk a runway model. She could be an IMG model in New York. But I think what happens is that, I'm telling you, I know this happens. A lot of these dudes, they get rejected from, because they think that, okay, she a four, she gonna talk to me, and then a four says hell no, and I think that really hurts a man's ego or a boy's ego. So when I was a kid, I must have been about 14 when I figured this out. So one of my first little girlfriends was I told you before, a Puerto Rican girl in my high school. She was super tall, super good looking. And I'm like, okay, this how you do it. And I never really, now of course, in college, I used to get drunk and, do 2 a.m. Taco Bell and fat girl sessions, but 2 a.m. in the morning, of course. But the fact of the matter is that I never hollered at regular looking chicks, man. Cause I'm like, man, I'll never get rejected from a little ugly girl like that. So, hey, man, I'm like, I'm not trying to brag. I'm like, sort of like half and half, man. But I only used to talk to nice looking chicks, Yeah. So that's the secret, man. That's the secret. Imagine this, Rush. Imagine you're 18. Imagine you're 18 or 19. And a chick who looked like Esther Rowe rejects you. You're going to be really pissed off, dude. You can be like, damn, I ain't got no worth, man. But think about a chick who's super hot right now. Like, let me see, man. Who's a nice little model right now? I don't know. Do you, Rush, do you know who look, not Lupita, it's another little Congolese little model. Do you know who Anak is?
Nah, I have no idea.
Better yet, remember when you know who Zoe Zeldana is?
Yeah, that Dominican chick, right?
Yeah, remember how she looked when she was super young? Oh,
yeah, very attractive.
Listen, I would tell any young boy, you better try to holler at a young chick who looks like that. Because if she rejects you, hey, it's like, all right, man, it's kind of like getting turned down from a loan from a Lamborghini. Are you really going to be that upset? But imagine you walk into a Toyota dealership and they say, yeah, you can't get this 95 Corolla. You're like, what? Okay, but that's all I got to say, man. We're going to
This guy right here.
Yo, Wale, you gave your final thoughts already, or you good?
Nah. Look, my final thoughts is if he has an illness, I hope the schools that he went to has documented like he may have a possible problem, because we definitely need some records on that, because we already know most parents, they're not going to really see or know if their kid even has an issue. So hopefully the schools that he went to previously before he got out, they actually documented that he may have an issue, but the parents never took that upon themselves to actually go check it out. So, but nah, I don't think he's going far. I think they got to clean this up. And if they do, and if he magically were to survive, yeah, it's going to be one long day out here.
Word up. My final thoughts is, man, yo, it's not that bad if a chick says no, man. You ain't gotta unalive her if she says no, man. Now I mean, seek wisdom, practice humility, and always remain sucker free. The show's officially over. I thank y'all for coming through.
Thank
Yeah, I mean
you.
that's it. Yo, no doubt, Crystal. I'm definitely gonna keep you in touch.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
yeah.
Rush. Peace.
Bro, same with you, Sophisticated Jerk, Wale, and Hank, man. I thank y'all so much for coming through. Definitely made the show fire today, man. Yeah, miss. I'll catch y'all on the flip, man. Later, guys. Keep in touch. One.
Be safe,
All right, right on.
everybody. Thank you.